I have on my podcast Julie Winters, who's mother of Sierra, and she herself is an Ironman triathlete. Julie, at what age did you discover triathlons and what was your Ironman journey like?
I did in college. As a physical therapist, I look at the way people walk, I look at their muscles, I look at their posture. I was like, I like that.
You know, in India, in a town like Bhopal, practically not many people are doing an Ironman.
You don't know how happy you can be until you're eating right, you're exercising right, and you're spiritually right. You know, Sierra is a very strong person, and I trust her. I don't run a lot. Like right now, I'm walking, speed walking. 10 miles of speed walking is more enjoyable.
What should one do or what should one eat to produce a strong girl like Sierra? Whenever I see a strong woman, the first thing that I want to do is to meet her mom. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. All of you must remember my podcast with Sierra Winters, the athlete who came into the limelight because she finished the full Ironman with just 6 months postpartum, pumping breast milk all along the way and clocking an amazing time of 10 hours and 41 minutes. Today I have on my podcast Julie Winters, who's mother of Sierra, and she herself is an Ironman triathlete. So the name Iron Mom fits her really well. So today we are going to talk to her about many things. She's also a physical therapist. As I said, she's an Ironman triathlete. She's mother to a very strong woman. And apart from that, she also wears various hats. So without much ado, let me talk to you, Julie, and tell me, what should one do or what should one eat to produce a strong girl like Sierra?
Well, first I'll thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be with you and really enjoyed your conversation with Sierra. I was vegetarian. I exercised. I remember the last trimester with her, I was in the pool. She was born in November, so most of the summer I was floating in a swimming pool or swimming laps. But a healthy eating, healthy vegetarian at the time is what I ate.
Julie, at what age did you discover triathlons and what was your Ironman journey like?
I think I did in college. When I got out of college, I wanted to do a sprint triathlon, one of the shorter ones, and I did that, and that was enough. And several years later, a friend of mine emails me and she says, will you do the swim leg of our triathlon? And I thought about it. I was like, no, I want to do the whole thing. And so I did it, and it was fun. And then for my 40th birthday, we went to Hawaii, and I did not know that Ironman Hawaii was happening.
Oh.
And so we were driving through the town. I was seeing all these amazing athletes. And as a physical therapist, I look at the way people walk, I look at their muscles, I look at their posture. I was like, I like that. I like that. So when we got back to the States, I asked my husband, I said, I want to do an Ironman. And I also want to do a triathlon series in North Carolina, and I want to place in the top 3 for my age group. And if I'm going to do this, I need you to support me. And so my daughter, Sierra, she was 3 years old, and my husband said yes. So we had a 7 and a 10-year-old, 7 and a 9-year-old, something like that, boys. And my husband, he stepped up. He was helping them with their homework. He was doing the cooking so that I could train. So I did the series triathlon in North Carolina, was 3rd in my age group. So
wow.
Yeah, I got great luggage for that one. And then I did an iron distance race. It wasn't Ironman brand, but it was an iron distance race. And I was 2nd in my age group there. Surprise.
Wow.
Surprise. And I'm done. Okay, I met my goals. But I had a training partner And Allison was 15 years younger than me, no kids. And she says, we need to do another. So she talked me into doing another one, and we did Ironman Madison. And then she talked me into doing another one, which was Coeur d'Alene. So I did 3 Ironman.
Amazing. This was in 2000, the 2000.
The Iron distance, when I came back, it was 2003 was when I started. 2007 was my last full Ironman, and since then I've done some half Ironmans. I did one in 2019 and another one in 2022.
Isn't it very difficult? In India, we've got a lot of house help. We've got families to help us. You know, raising 3 very young kids with your job as a physical therapist, how was it like training, taking out so much time from your family?
I had a very supportive husband, and he really stepped up to the plate. And I think what had happened was I kind of lost who I was. Up until that time, I was doing everything as a mom, as a physical therapist, as a wife, and I wasn't taking care of Julie. And so when I started in 2003, I was like, that gave me something of me back. And everybody was just so supportive. It's like, you've got to have that support. The training that I did, I had a fantastic training partner on the bike. The swim, I could take the kids to the pool and I could swim my laps and they would be playing in the pool. And there was a time when Sierra was 3 years old, and normally I tell the lifeguard she can swim. Well, this lifeguard didn't believe it, and Sierra marches down to the deep end and she jumps in and starts swimming across the pool. That lifeguard is out of the stand and she's about ready to jump in, and this little 3-year-old swimming across the pool in the deep end. So my kids, they were very, they went along with it. So I got my swims in when they could play in the pool, and the bikes in with my my friend, and the runs in whenever I could. But it took family support.
Did you not find any resentment that you're away for long hours, especially the bike rides, the Sunday bike rides? They go on, and then you come back and the family is enjoying a weekend. They have plans to go out on a Sunday, and you are coming back totally tired and of not much use to anybody.
I must have been very blessed, because yes, I'd come back tired. Sometimes I'd be in the bed just exhausted for like an hour, trying to get up. And I didn't resent me having to take the time away, because their daddy was the best playmate. And so I knew they were in safe hands. I knew that things were going to be okay. And it fulfilled me so much. So maybe a little selfish on my part, but I had the support, and it was what fed my soul.
And also, when you start on this journey in your 40s, you've practically given your 20s and 30s to having kids, to raising them to that age where, they can be okay even when you're leaving them alone. Right. You've given your best in your early years of your career. So as you said, finding yourself, finding who Julie was, finding who Priya was, I think that makes a very big difference, because around me I see women in their 40s who've given their best years to their families and to their careers, but they've lost themselves in the process somewhere.
Yes, it's very true. And the same thing happens again when all your kids leave and move away and get married. And I'm rediscovering fun sides of me that I haven't really experienced in a while, and it's great. It's great. It's okay to put those things on hold, but to know what I didn't know is how easily everything would come back to me, because I had made such strong commitments, that in the things that I liked.
Right.
Like backpacking and hiking and stuff like that.
So you had the base, but training towards a goal again still is difficult. You might have the base, but you really have to step up your training volume. Your focus is different when you are training towards a very long distance race like that.
It is. And I think it's so important to have training partners, because on a day that you just really don't feel like going out, your training partner is expecting you to go out. And Allison and I were very, very well matched on the bike. We solved a lot of world's problems on the bike. And it's, like Sierra was saying, the swimming is meditated to her. For me, being on a bike is meditative. Even if I'm on a bike ride by myself, I find myself talking to God and listening. And, it's a spiritual thing for me on a bike.
Right. At a very young age, Sierra decided to get married to an Indian, and an Indian actor at that, and moved to, of all the places, to Mumbai, which is probably as big a contrast as it can be between your North Carolina life and the life that she has currently. How was it like for you to deal with?
Well, at first it was, oh my gosh, she's going to be that far away. Oh my gosh, what is she getting herself into? Okay. But, Sierra is a very strong person, and I trust her. I trust her. And what I have found is I see her more than I see my boys that live in the States. Because when she comes over for weeks. And when I come over here, I come over for weeks. So we do get to spend quite a bit of time together. It is a contrast with the city, because I'm not, for more than half of my life, I have lived in the solitude of the country. So it's different. But different can be good. You got to find the good things. Like, I'm really looking forward to the food and the massages and pedicure and spending time with my granddaughter and my son-in-law and my daughter.
So I remember when Sierra was pregnant with Tara, she reached out to me and she messaged me if she can do the Ironman Chattanooga, which is one of the hottest races. And I was very surprised, because I am a gynec and I see women every single day. And as soon as they get those 2 lines on the card, it's like house arrest for them.
Yeah.
So here there was a girl who wants to do the full Ironman while she's pregnant. She did not do it, and she deferred it, and she did it 6 months postpartum. But what were your thoughts on it? How did you react as a mother?
I totally trusted her, because I knew she had researched it, and she had I was very relieved when she made the decision not to do it while she was pregnant. And then as I was talking to her, I realized that her goal was to have fun. And that's much different than trying to win a slot to Worlds or something like that. She wasn't putting pressure on herself. She was doing it for fun. And I was so happy for her, just very happy for her.
You're a physiotherapist by profession.
Mm-hmm.
So, people who get into endurance sports, and even women in general, how do you think endurance sports helps us in our lives?
Well, first off, I am a very strong believer in women with endurance sports. I think there have been some recent studies supporting that women are very well suited for endurance sports. And I think you've got to listen to your body. At what age you should be doing what, okay? So, for instance, when I was in my 40s doing Ironman training, I was never fearful of my body letting me down. I knew it was hard work. I trusted my body. And it wasn't until 2017 that I had my first significant injury. And that was by training in different running shoes that they weren't appropriate for me. And so I've since gotten out of those. But I've been plagued with some injuries and having to look at my training plan differently. I can't train 2 days in a row. Give it up. That's for somebody before menopause.
Right.
So it needs to be different. The studies that I'm reading now are saying women over 50 need to be training zone 2, which is very light aerobic, 80% of their training, and only 20% being sprint work or speed work. And because our bodies change with menopause, we don't have as good a collagen, we don't heal as fast, so you got to just adapt.
Right, but stay active through the different life phases.
Very important to stay active, very, and changing your sport around.
Right.
I don't run a lot. Like right now, I'm walking, speed walking. 10 miles of speed walking is more enjoyable,
Right.
and it's less harmful to my body.
Right. You've also done a lot of trails. You've done a lot of other endurance stuff. So tell us about that.
1989, I hiked the Appalachian Trail with my husband, and at the time, it changes every year because they're still acquiring land. It was 2,200 and something miles. It took us 5.5 months to do, and it was amazing. It was just that I was at peace. I was in homeostasis. It was my element. So yeah, that's good. And I've hiked there was this loop in Colorado that we did with some friends and my dog and my daughter, of course. And we did a long bike ride in Vermont. So I respect endurance events. I don't know if it's always appropriate for me to be doing them at my age. Like I don't think about doing a 100-mile, endurance race. Don't need to even go there.
Right.
But maybe on a bike, a 100-mile bike ride is not out of reach for me if I train, and gotta train.
Right. So essentially, I think the base that you carry from your younger age, along with some, really difficult events peppered through your life, but the essence, as you said, is to remain active all the time. You can pick and choose depending on your time in life, depending on your circumstances, but it's important for women to remain active.
Absolutely. And I can't say it enough, the support group. Like I'm an introvert and I don't want a big group. And whenever I have been most consistent with training has been when I've had one or two other friends that I do it with. And It's very difficult for me to motivate myself to get out there by myself. If I have a goal, like right now, the half marathon in Mumbai, I have that goal and I want to do it with my daughter. Oh, she'll be much more ahead of me, but that's motivating factors to know that what I'm doing will keep me able to go backpacking with my son or to do whatever adventure she decides that she's going to ask mom to do. It's like, I want to be ready. So I got to keep that base going.
Absolutely. They say children don't do what we say, children do what we do.
That's very true.
And it's never been truer, like in your case. So Sierra mentioned to me in her podcast that she said she'll never do an Ironman. But eventually she went on to do it, and that too at 6 months postpartum, which probably is even tougher than doing it in pregnancy.
Yes, I admire that. I admire that. And I think as a parent, it's very important not to push your goals on your child. I don't feel like I've ever pushed Sierra, you got to do triathlons. I did push Sierra, let's do this 5K together, or let's do something, we're going backpacking, or we're going to go do this. But I don't think I pushed her into one slot. It's like I wanted to give her opportunities, and she chose out of those opportunities.
I remember reading on her Instagram, she attempted the Ironman Israel. And she was almost there. I mean, I think it was 10-15 kilometers of run remaining. and she had to quit because of some gut issues. You were there on course as a part of her crew. How is it like a mother to, stand on the sides and see your child? And it was a very tough day at Israel that day.
It
It
was
was raining very heavily. It was very cold. So tell me your thoughts as a mother.
Well, the swim is always my biggest fear for her, because I know some people can get kicked in the head. I think it's the most dangerous part
Yes.
of any triathlon is the
Absolutely.
swim. So I was very relieved when she got out of the swim. You can track her on the bike. You can track these athletes. It's like, well, what's going on here? She's stuck here. And no communication. So I didn't know she had a flat or the second flat. I didn't know about that. And then on the run, I can talk to her a little bit. She can say, got the trucks, Mom, or there's not enough bathrooms, Mom, or, something like that. So I have a little bit more feedback from what she is feeling and going through. And then when she said she couldn't finish, I said, why? And, she explained it to me. And it's like, smart decision, very smart. You're listening to your body. You don't want to cause more harm by not listening to your body. And to be able to say, I'm not going to finish, is huge. That takes a lot of growth to get to that point. And it's not that she quit, it's I'm not finishing. And that's a big difference in an athlete's head, I think, is I'm not going to finish. That's okay.
And I remember reading that post of hers, and I know as a triathlete that it's actually more difficult not to finish than to bear that pain and that injury and just walk or creep or crawl to the finish line.
Yes.
That would have been probably the easier option, not the tougher option.
Right. And, we're talking about mental and physical on these Ironmans. It's a combination of both. And that she was able to tap into her mental and listen to her mental side and be disciplined enough not to take the risks of continuing.
And it was at that moment when I first read that post that I thought to myself that this girl is very young and she has wisdom beyond her years, because it takes a lot of wisdom to take a decision like that at that point in the race. And
So
it
true.
was at that point where that fleeting thought came that, I want to meet her mom one day. And here we are talking to each other.
And I don't know how I instilled that in her. I think that's just a Sierra thing, that she is an old soul, that she is a wise soul. I can't take any credit for that.
I really feel that, whatever we are, it's not us. It's, it's your mother, it's your grandmother, it's several generations that come into making one person. And we may, as mothers, always underplay ourselves that, no, she was born that way. Or I may say, no, my son, he is that way. I did nothing. I did not pay any attention to him. But it's actually not true. What you have lived every single day, what you stood for in your life as she was growing up, that's what probably gives her that wisdom. That's what probably gives her that resilience. I am from a city like Bhopal. When I come to Mumbai, I feel out of place. I feel this is a different world altogether. And for her to marry somebody who is older than her, who is from a totally different background, a different culture, and to adapt and adjust, it actually shows that as a mother, you've instilled something in her which made her this way.
Maybe that was just a gift that I had. Because some things you have to work at, and some things are just a gift. They just come so naturally that you don't think about them. And so, I do look back at my experiences, and I think they have influenced my children. My oldest son is a very avid climber and mountaineering, and he's taken me on some of these trips, and it's like, I can't believe you're doing what you're doing. I stay down at the base and he goes up. And my middle child, he's exploring different music things that I never thought of. And he's caving, going in caves. It's like, okay. You know, but he has that sense of adventure. And then, you know, Sierra, she just, nothing ever, she never turned down a choice. Okay, do you want to try this? Yes. Do you want to try this? Yes. She was always agreeable to try healthy choices. And maybe just offering them is one of the things I did right.
So it takes a lot to always choose difficult, or at most times choose difficult where there's always an easier path.
Yes. Yeah. And especially in America, you know, there's so many easy paths that you can take. And I think working and meeting goals, like when I did my first Ironman, it's like, I am an Ironman. I did this thing. I can do anything and since 2003, you know, to 2007 when I did the 3 of them, it's like I still reference back when I'm really, really tired or I'm really having a tough mental day or tough workout. It's like, I'm an Ironman. I can get through this. So it's something that stayed with me all these years because it is a tough thing and I admire her for doing it. I admire you for doing it.
You're absolutely right. You know, it's been now 1 year since I did my full Ironman. And as you said, every time it's become a reference in my head.
Yeah.
And most of the times, actually, the person who keeps telling you that you can't do this or you should not do this is the voice in your head.
Yeah.
And now the voice in my own head, which says that, you know, no, anything is possible, is because I crossed that finish line.
Yes. Yes. It makes such a huge impact to have that accomplishment. It really does.
And, you know, in India, in a town like Bhopal, practically not many people are doing an Ironman, not at my age and my stage in life. But I really feel after I've crossed that finish line that everybody must do it at least once in their lifetimes.
Or push their limit, find something that's super hard. My theory in life has always been you don't know how happy you can be until you're eating right, you're exercising right, and you're spiritually right. I mean, when you have all those things going, then you can learn how happy you can be. But if you're not eating right, I don't think you're meeting your potential. Same thing with exercising. You got to put the 3 together to meet your potential of happiness.
Julie, you've been a vegetarian all your life and probably also a vegan.
No,
now.
not all my life.
Not all your life?
I was raised on meat.
Oh.
And when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, we stopped at this place. It was called Elmer's Sunnybank Inn. And he served vegetarian food, family style. And I left there and I said, if vegetarian food is this good, I never need to eat meat again. So since 1989, yes, vegetarian.
But you've done these races, you've been so active, and actually some of the events that you've done are actually ultra endurance events. So how do you meet your protein goals? I'm sure you get, people ask you this all the time.
Yeah. It's harder being vegan because you're not doing the eggs. You just got to pay attention to what you're eating. My protein levels dropped a couple months ago. So I do blood tests to make sure everything is where it needs to be. And it was just as simple as adding snacks of air-fried tofu. I did chickpeas, roasted chickpeas, so many different recipes for that, and having it easily available. It's easier to just go ahead and fix a huge batch, and it keeps, the chickpeas keep, and just being more mindful of what you're eating. And I know Sierra mentioned in her interview with you something about keeping weight on. And I remember that I would, when I was training Ironman, I would eat anything and everything to keep the weight on. And some of it was junk food. And 6 weeks before race day, I ate clean and I dropped weight. I could not keep weight on because I was eating I didn't want to eat processed food. I didn't want to eat junk food. I wanted to eat all healthy. And it's really, really difficult to keep the weight on when you're eating healthy.
Right.
You need that ice cream.
Wonderful. Julie, is there any message that you would like to give to moms of girls everywhere?
Show them that exercise is fun. It doesn't need to be a race. It needs to be enjoyable, that you feel like you've accomplished something. It doesn't need to be easy all the time, because you're only going to get stronger mentally and physically by challenging yourself. And women athletes, we can do it. We can do it. We just need more women as role models, showing that it's okay. It is okay to do this.
Right. Amazing. Thank you so much for this wonderful message. And I think if we ever want to raise strong girls, strong women, it starts from their mothers. So let us all get ourselves off the couch. Let's get on the roads. Let's get stronger so that we are able to make our girls stronger and our world stronger. Thank you so much for such a wonderful conversation. I just loved every minute of it. And I actually want to come back and ask you many more things. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have to send me my picture because your portrait is due. Your picture.
Okay.